I have my drum here, I have my shell, my lug casings, my mufflers in place, my mount. I have with me what I'm going to need. I have a brick of wax. I have a little bit of Vaseline. I have a drum key. I have my lug bolts and my washers for my lug bolts. I'm going to start, and I have new heads, by the way, down here. A couple of new heads. So I'm going to start with the bottom head, and I'll show you that one. And what you do on the bottom, you do on the top. So I know the bottom head because the muffler goes on the top head. So this is the top side. I'm going to flip the drum over, and I'm going to get out my bottom head. In this case, I'm using Evans G1 Clear. That's a single ply drum head. That's what I recommend for your bottoms. Some people will play a 2-ply on top, but it's really never a good idea to put a 2-ply on the bottom. Your bottom head is your resonant head. You want that to ring and resonate. A 2-ply head is going to muffle, and you're not going to get the maximum amount of resonance. So put a single ply on. That's a G1 from Evans. That's an Ambassador from Remo. Get a clear head, put it on the bottom. That's kind of standard. That's what most people do. If you're a Remo person, their Diplomat head is a little bit thinner and resonates even a little more. A lot of jazz players like that on their bottom head for maximum resonance. Again, a good generic down the middle head for the bottom of your drum is the Evans G1 or the Remo Ambassador Clear. Set the, well, before we set it, let's wax it. Actually, so I like to take a little bit of wax, not a ton, and just, you can actually see my wax brick from doing it, and I just go around the edge a little bit like that. Not too hard. I don't want to load it up with wax because I don't want it to muffle that head. I want it to resonate. But what I want the wax to do is allow that head to move easily over that bearing edge so that the head doesn't get hung up on wooden burrs or splinters or anything and rip or tear or pull some wood off. So that's really all I'm doing there. You don't have to do that. It's not mandatory in changing heads, but it's just something I do. So I have that done. Next thing I'm going to do is put my head on. Get that head to sit on there nice and even. There it is. It sits there. I do like the Evans now because they're making this this 360 technology, they call it. I think level 360, and they've done some work on their on the outer part of the head so that when you put the head on it fits. It fits on the drum better than they used to and doesn't need to break in like they used to. I don't know that Remo's doing that. So the point being, I find the Evans, they tune up a lot easier. It's a lot quicker and easier to get them to sit on the drum and tune. As far as putting the head on, everybody's different about where they put their logo. I've always been one to set my tom-toms up so the logo's at the top of the tom at 12 o'clock as I'm looking at it. So if that's the case, this is my 12-inch tom. I'm going to play it on my left here. Here's my mounting bracket. I want my logo up here at 12 o'clock, like a clock. And then I'll match the bottom. So my bottom logo is going to go right there. But you don't have to do that. That's just a matter of where you put your logos. I've seen people who really just don't even think about it. They just throw the heads on, and wherever they are, they are. Great, logo's on. I grab my rim, and I'm going to place my rim on the head, and I'm going to line it up with the lug casings. There are 6 casings. There are 6 holes on the rim, and there it is. I have my rim. I have my head. It's lined up. It's ready to go. Next, I have to put my lug bolts and my washers. So I have 12 bolts and 12 washers. I'm going to put the washers on. I'm only going to do 6 here because that's all I'm doing for this head. There it is. I have 6 lug bolts. Going to set them here. Here's where this comes in. It's a good idea to lubricate the threads of your lug bolts. And I've used lots of different stuff over the years. Some people like to use a little dab of oil, like a 3-in-1 oil, or you could even probably use cooking oil. The object is to make this lubricated so that it spins in and out easily, and so that if by chance water gets in there and rust starts, it doesn't seize up on you. Hopefully you don't get water in it, but it can happen. But I find that the liquid oils tend to drip and get on my shell and be a little messy, so I like to use a grease. You could use any kind of lubricating grease. It really doesn't matter. There's all kinds on the market. But Vaseline is something most people have in their bathroom closet. So what I'll do is I'll take one of my lugs. I'll just get a little bit on the end of it. Just enough. Maybe you can see that. And I'll take another lug and I'll just touch the ends and I'll kind of spin it just to spread that Vaseline around the end. And now I have just enough on there to start it. And then what I'll do is I've done this a lot, so I'm very comfortable with it. You may have to do them one at a time if you haven't done this, but you'll find as you go and get better at this, you can do two at a time. I'll set this one in, and I'll set this one in. And you want to make sure when you set them in that they line up. You may have to push on that receiver a little bit to get it to line up just right. And that one grabbed. I'm going to go on this one. And then what I do, once I have the thread started, once it's started and the thread caught, I go finger tight. That's all you have to do, finger tight. Then I'm going to spin the drum shell and I'm going to do the next two. And again, just finger tight is all I want to do. And that gets our head on our drum. There it is, finger tight. Two more to go and I got this side done. Again, oil or grease, anything to lubricate it. If you forget, it's not a huge deal. Just the next time you put it on, change heads, try to get a little bit of lubrication in there. It just makes your job easier. Okay, there it is. I've got 6 on. They're all finger tight. Good enough. That drum head is ready to be tuned. Check out my next video. We'll tune the head.